Mental health is not just for those who suffer, it's for everybody, because we all need to know what is going on and how to save those people, but most importantly, how to save ourselves. I get the people who said they'd rather cry in a Bentley. I endorse that 100%, honey. You better be crying in a Bentley than crying in a Skoda car somewhere. I get that. But you can't money your way out of mental health issues. You can actually get better help, which is true, but nothing will ever take you from your own mental strain besides you going through it and you taking yourself out of it. And yeah, so be kind to people who have addictions, whether it's drug, whether it's alcohol, whether it's sex, whether it's cigarettes, whether it's weed, whether it's food, whether it's whatever. It's just a coping strategy. They're not addicted to that thing because they're addicted to that thing. They're using it to solve a problem that they feel like they can't solve.
Welcome to an all new episode of Looks and Wisdom Sundays with me, Oluchi B.
Hey guys, and welcome to another exciting episode of Looks and Wisdom Sundays with me, Oluchi B. Please say the B, aka the elusive pundit. Darling, how are you feeling? I'm actually feeling good. I'm excited. I'm self-recording today because the crew is busy, they are students. So I was like, oh my God, I can't get them out of school today, so I have to do this myself. And because I wanted to get this out, I've actually been wanting to do short format content for a while and to drop them on Wednesdays for a while. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to start in June. And I didn't want to let the day pass me by. So I was like, I'll push through. So I'm going to be talking about Men's Mental Health Month, which is June. And I did debate to myself about whether or not I should get involved. And I remember we had a conversation with Vure, the first lady we interviewed for the actual mental health month, which is May. And we were talking about how mental health and mental health issues are not just for people who suffer from mental health or have mental health issues. It's for everybody, because you might be dating a man with mental health issues. Your father could be suffering from mental health issues. Your boss at work could be having mental health issues. Men in general that you are acquainted with, whether it's through your mentorship, through people who are your friends or who you acquaint with. So, mental health is not just for those who suffer, it's for everybody, because we all need to know what is going on and how to save those people, but most importantly, how to save ourselves. And so I was like, you know what, I need to get involved. And another thing that I've learned is that for me, and you guys can debate it in the comments, there's only one major thing when it comes to mental health for men. But we're going to get to that at the end of this episode. But what I'm going to use for today's episode in terms of how to deal with mental health issues as a man and as a human being in general, because I don't feel like there's a difference really in terms of how you actually handle it, is I'm going to be using the interviews that we've already had this month, well, last month, for mental health, and sort of like give you guys a summary and my own experience with what I am going to say. So I don't want this to be long. I don't want this to be longer than 15 minutes, 20 minutes if we're pushing it. So the first one I'm going to talk about is anxiety and depression via Vure, and we interviewed Vure in the first episode. And what she said about anxiety and depression is that anxiety is you worried about the past, and depression is you worried about the future. And I believe that's somewhat true to all of our experiences. Every time I have a bit of anxiety is because I'm worried about something. Every time I have depression, it's because I'm worried about something. And this is not for people who suffer from chronic depression and anxiety, and that's a different thing on its own. And I was thinking, so how do we mitigate depression and anxiety in the sense of worried about the past and worrying about the future? And it's very simple for me. because I am a holistic, I believe in holistic wellness more than I believe in Western medicine. And so, one of the few things that I do for myself when I am going through either an anxiety or depression episode, because we all go through it, like life is not roses all the time. So, I try to ground myself in the moment, and I try to be present for whatever circumstances happening around my life. I'm a person who believes in going through things and not trying to find gateways out of it. So one of the first things I do when I'm suffering from anxiety and depression is to acknowledge that it's happening for me, and then try to ground myself in the present moment, using not medication. Oh my god. Okay, that one's good. You can use that, but we're not endorsing any drug usage in my channel. But you ground yourself using meditation. So meditation is good for me. And I've gotten into silent meditation ever since I went to Vipassana for the silent meditation retreat. So I usually used to meditate with like um the sounds, the frequency sounds. And now I've gotten into tuning into my own frequency by using silence for meditation. Another way you can ground your energy is by walking. Walking is very good for grounding your energy. You can also ground yourself into the present moment by journaling and yeah, writing your thoughts down as they happen for you. And while you're doing that, I think mitigation strategies as to how you can actually deal with the situation that you have will come to you, because when we are still, the solutions usually come themselves. And then the second thing I learned from Vure is the gaslighting by parents and by partners and by people who are around us. So if you know you are experiencing an episode, or you know you are going to a dark place, believe yourself. Believe yourself. And if you tell your partner, whether it's a female partner or a male partner, or you speak to your parents, it's very important that you take yourself more seriously than everybody else, because they might be like, hi boy, it's not that serious, you're overthinking things. Yes, yes, I am overthinking things. That's why I have anxiety. So don't believe other people's opinion more than your own opinion. And this also goes if you go through, because Vore did speak to us a lot about going to therapy, getting actual medication, and being under specific Western treatments, that you have to tell your doctor how you feel. This medication is making me feel drowsy. I'm not getting better in this medication. These things are not working. So, yeah, believe yourself more than you believe the next person, because obviously you are experiencing yourself, and the next person cannot experience yourself. They can't experience you for yourself. Yes. So those are the two things from Vure. And the second thing I want to speak about, and this is from Kia. So Kia is a holistic wellness coach, and I interviewed her as well, is around the shame of going through mental strain. So she kept quiet a lot because she didn't want to have to deal with the shame, and the shame eventually cost her mental health, and she had to go through the process of healing. So don't be shameful. There's nothing to be shameful about. And for myself as a person, when I'm going through something, I actually find people that have gone through the same experience and just try to leech off of them, whether it's to feel like I'm part of a community of people who've gone through this tough time, or just trying to find how people mitigate it for themselves. Like, yeah, I went there, I did this and I did that. I'll be like, okay, should I try this? Should I not? And I mean, that's not only limited to when you're going through dark parts, it's also for when you're going through your own process. Like, I watch other YouTubers and people who've gone through phases when their channels were not performing, and how they mitigated that, and the mental strain it took on them is like, okay, it's not just me stressed about my numbers. Everybody goes through it, but we have to mitigate and move on. And the second thing I wanted to talk about from the episode that I had with Kia around mental health is the avoidance. She left her home and went to Cape Town. You can't run away from your mental health issues, because one of the first things I learned when I started my spiritual journey is through a Zen parable. Everywhere you go, There you are. Everywhere you go, there you are. We are part of our cognitive brain, our mental brain, our subconscious brain, our feelings, our emotions, wherever we go. I get the people who said they'd rather cry in a Bentley. I endorse that 100%. Honey, you better be crying in a Bentley than crying in a Skoda car somewhere. I get that. But you can't money your way out of mental health issues. You can actually get better help, which is true, but nothing will ever take you from your own mental strain besides you going through it and you taking yourself out of it. So, avoidance of issues, whether you travel somewhere else, whether you move from this bad relationship to the next, whether you quickly move from this job that gave you mental issues to the next, those things are always going to follow you until you deal with them. Oops, oops, oops. And Kia actually taught us about the importance of movement, stretching, yoga, and actually using tablets, medication. Not that medication, we're talking about multivitamins, herbs, healthy herbal medication to deal with your own self. Magnesium is very good. Every time people say, "What do you use?" I'm like, guys, I use magnesium. And I put a lot of moringa in my food as well. I believe that works. I also drink, what is it, omega 369, and yeah, so those are my things. Oh, and I also got Kia's multivitamin situation going on. She did promote it in the other episode. Go watch that. So those were the two things that I wanted to talk about from Kia. And then the last episode that we had for Mental Health Awareness Month was with Anele, where her mental health issues actually led to addiction, and she was victim of alcoholism, and that led her to suicide ideation and eventually her being suicidal enough to action her suicidal thoughts. So, one of the things that she said is, you know, the minute you are not well, it's no one else has to tell you in the corners. You know, she knew the day she left her job that she was not well at all, and she tried to be like, no, I'm good, no, I'm good, no, I'm good, let me have a drink, let me have two drinks, let me have five drinks, like let me actually drink the whole bottle, let me drink two bottles, let me drink every day, let me drink whatever, whenever, and every time. And she says that if she had actually um understood herself to know that she's not well, but also to know that she has to get help immediately, it would have saved herself a lot of strain, trauma, being admitted, going through suicide, being an addict, an alcoholic, and all of these things that she now has to deal with. Because being a recovering anything, whether it's you're recovering from drugs, from alcohol, from abuse, you're always going to be prone to that. And we spoke about that intensely on that episode about whatever drug you were using to pacify yourself. And back in the day, I used to smoke cigarettes. When I was going through a difficult time, I started smoking again. And I was like, what the hell? She also knows that she can't drink alcohol because if she does, it's going to take her back to being an alcoholic. So know that even Gabelo Mabilana did say that once you're an addict of something, you're always going to be recovering. It's never ever going to go away because you have made it the default of your body. And yeah, so be kind to people who have addictions, whether it's drug, whether it's alcohol, whether it's sex, whether it's cigarettes, whether it's weed, whether it's food, whether it's whatever. It's just a coping strategy. They're not addicted to that thing because they're addicted to that thing. They're using it to solve a problem that they feel like they can't solve. The second thing from Anele is the importance of community. You have to have community. And Naomi Campbell, my fave, always says that if you tell your problems to more than three people, you are looking for attention. So the society that you have has to be limited. For me, it's whoever I'm dating, depending on how serious the relationship is, my best friend. If those two people can't get me out of the jam, the next available person is a professional, a therapist, a coach, and all of these things. So I have like my community of people that I speak to, that I trust, but three key people that I will tell my deepest, darkest secrets to. And if they can't help, I'm seeking a professional. I believe in getting professional help as a lot. And we did speak with Anele about the fact that people always believe that getting professional help is expensive. No, it's not. If you are in corporate and have a corporate job, the company has call through people's numbers that you can call, whether it's ICAS, whether it's Call Nelson, whether it's, what is it? If you're on a medical aid, you actually do get a number of professional help that you can get in the form of psychologists, psychiatrists, getting admitted and those type of things. So use the resources that you do have around, and also do use the free government ones that are around. There's a lot of NGOs that deal with mental health issues, and blah 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 blah. And yeah, those are the things I wanted to highlight based on the previous episodes that we did have for mental health. And this applies across board, whether you're men, whether you're female. And what I wanted to say is the main difference that I've noticed between male and female when it comes to dealing with mental health has to do with societal's conditioning of what a man is supposed to be or what a female is supposed to be. So men can't cry, men can't go through tough times, men can't go through blah 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 blah. The shame that's centered around men being weak if they have mental health issues. And I'm probably going to cover this topic later on in time about performance masculinity. It has to do with a lot of those things, because I've never heard not one female saying that if their man cries, they will leave them. So that's sort of like the main differentiator. And guys, I like putting local celebrities, and this point for me is was taken home by AKA. So you guys know that the whole incident with AKA and Anele did happen. I'm not going to go through the whole thing because this is supposed to be a short episode. And then the guy, actually, before he passed away, he dropped an album. And in this album, there was a song there called Anxiety. And in this song called Anxiety, he actually does talk about the fact that he went through anxiety and depression. And he's writing this in his diary because he's feeling suicidal. And one of the things that he talks about, and this is the second line in the same song, he says, I can't open up to anybody. They don't know how loud the silence is. I'm losing my religion. My battery's low. It's getting real close. That's why I'm talking to you and nobody else, dear diary. So this is the song he wrote going through his own depression and anxiety phase. And he does talk about the fact that he didn't feel like he could open to anybody, and the silence was loud. And in reality, he was losing his religion. His battery was low. He cannot deal with what is going on. And another thing I wanted to talk about is Ricky Rick. So AKA had two types of depression, and I know this information because I'm a fan. So this was specific to a specific incident, and this was the Nelly situation. But he does talk a lot about the depression and anxiety that you feel from the pressure to perform and to be seen as a winner in real life. I think his other song, Energy, in my experience, all of these millions don't guarantee you a peace of mind. He does talk about the pressure of the industry collecting these awards, having to be AKA the super mega, and how that actually plays into your mental health. So yeah, so AKA specific incident that happened, and also just the reality around having to be successful, having to perform, and I mean perform like in what society expects us to be. By this age you're supposed to have a car, by this age you're supposed to have a house, by this age you're supposed to have a husband, by this age you're supposed to have children, by this kid, all of that nonsense. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Another person that I wanted to speak about real quick is Ricky Rick. You guys know Ricky Rick's situation comes from trauma that he experienced as a child. So he's unaliving, and him dealing with depression and anxiety that led to drug usage, that led to his mental health depreciating to a point where he actually did commit suicide. That I did read a book with his mother, and I did review it in my channel if you're looking for that. But that comes from family trauma, and I wanted to bring all of those things together. Depression and anxiety, mental health issues are never one thing. They could be because of pressure to succeed and to be a man. They can be because a certain incident happened, your mother died, your girlfriend passed away, you got into a breakup situation, you're in an abuse situation. Or it could be trauma like Ricky Rick, where your life feels like it's just been on a downward spiral and you really cannot take it. And before we close this off, I wanted to speak about two videos from two prominent, successful men. The first one is Drake. Roll the clip, roll the clip.
Often when I meet people, I have to like humanize myself. I was talking to a therapist at one point and he said something, and he was like, you know, it was a really valid point. I'm not really a big therapy guy. I don't feel like I necessarily want the same life as a therapist is trying to pitch me on, which is like some life of like morals and simplicity and those type of things.
Yeah.
Not to say I don't have morals and simplicity, but like I don't need my life to be rooted in like find somewhere to disappear in the world and like disconnect from everybody. That's not really like where I'm headed.
Right.
I actually love this angle from Drake because a lot of people don't talk about that. And I know this for myself because ever since I've gone through my healing journey and have been very vocal and open, wrote a book, does podcasts, do all these things around mental health healing and trauma and all of these things, people expect a certain way from me. Like they expect me to be traditional, do these things, be this person, speak like this, show up at these events. I'm not that person. I don't aspire to be that person. And I see a lot of people who are my age and who do the performance thing around ageism. You are this human being of this age. You're supposed to act like that. And you've gone through a healing journey. We can't see you twerking. Like, what do you guys mean? Oh, I'm supposed to get a husband, or I'm supposed to have children, or I'm supposed to do these things. I'm glad Drake brought that to the forefront. We don't go through healing to be better performers for society where there's a certain expectation. We go through healing for our own internal locus, for us to focus better on the things that make us better as human beings. And I'm glad Drake spoke about that because people think just because you go through therapy, just because you go through healing, you're not supposed to be full of shit. Honey, I'm always going to be full of shit for days, for life too, because that's who I am. I just am better at being myself and being alive and in better connection with myself. And the second video I wanted to speak about is this one by Mr. Beast. Roll it.
How do you think about mental health? I've heard you speak about your mental health before, and
I don't. Well, the thing is, here's the problem. Like, it's if my mental health was a priority, I wouldn't be as successful as I am. I mean, and that's just like a sad fact. Like I obviously never would have buried myself alive for 7 days, 7 days of solitary, 7 days on a deserted island, 7 days, blah blah blah. It's like, you know, being consistently uncomfortable and like being able to consistently suffer over long periods is like arguably one of the deepest modes. Like there's a reason no one makes videos like me, like not even close, because no one wants to live the life I live. I mean, there are months where I'm, you know, I think there was 1 year where I was flying like 200 days, like I was on a plane. I mean, it was a fuck fest, but you know, to get these videos done and I do everything. And it's like, you know, when I wake up tomorrow and I'm going to be pretty fucking tired and feel like shit, I'm going to go, you know, something I always tell myself is how you feel right now is why no one else does what you want to do or does what you do. And if you push through this, that's just even, you know, more of a reason why no one will ever be who you are. And so it's like, I think being able to push through unhappiness and do things you don't want to do consistently year after year over the course of a decade is like the ultimate advantage. Like, I mean, I think we'll hit 1 billion subscribers, and I don't think anyone will be anywhere near close.
I love this video about Mr. Beast as well because I speak to my friends a lot about the years before my healing journey, and that's like before 2018. And I tell people I was having the best time of my life during those years. I was happy being a delinquent in the streets. I was happy. I just had to find better ways to live that delinquent life. And I also speak about the pressure that I felt in corporate when I was climbing the corporate ladder. But thinking about it now, I wouldn't have it any other way. I just didn't know better how to manage my mental agility, my mental strength. So a lot of circumstances are not to take you out of going through hard parts that are going to stretch your mental capacity. They literally, life is about how to deal with the hard parts, and mental health for me is about going through the difficult parts with better tools on how to manage them, not to avoid them. I mean, if you're building a business, you have to be up all night, because if you're not up all night, there's someone who is up all night and is going to be better at business than you, who is going to be better at being a YouTuber than you, because you're not spending the time. You're supposed to go through the hard parts. That's what makes you stronger, not avoid them. I wanted to end this video clip with those things. And yeah, that's it. That's it. Thank you guys for tuning in. Other than that, I have no further information to give to the masses, but do comment, do subscribe, and do tell your friends. Thank you. I'll see you on Sunday.